showtime. Bring the mic in. That helps. So, today on the show, we're going to talk about there it goes. The finality of death versus a breakup. And why am I talking about this? Well, it's oftentimes that people will come to me and go, this breakup is killing me. Strong words, right? Strong words. And words count. Words really count. If you're saying that a breakup's killing you, that's not good for you. You got to read that. And so we're going to unpack that a little bit today. If you have a breakup story you want to get unpacked on the show, send it into writemac.com. The link will be down below in the comments. If you have a topic you want me to touch on, please put it in the comments. Happy to do that. And this show will be on at 10 a.m. Pacific time this week, Monday through Friday. 10 a.m. Pacific time next week, Monday through Friday. All right, let's get into it. So there's an ultimate finality to death. There's no coming back. There's no new chapter. In a lot of cases, you forgive that individual for everything. You remember them for all their good parts. In breakups, there's an open loop. There's a need for a next chapter. What's next? Anything feels possible. Actually, anything is possible. But we choose to micro focus on what we want or what we don't want with that breakup. We can get back together versus they never love me. Versus I'll never meet another like them. So how do you get to that point where it's over, where you accept the breakup? You accept that you weren't going to work out. You accept that this relationship wasn't going to be good for you or them. There's some finality to that, right? So I wrote down in the comments to the side, and like I wrote just now, I will get to your comments and questions at the end of the show, at the end of the topics. But differences between death and a breakup. Number one, finality versus wondering, uncertainty. Think about that for a minute. Most human beings are perplexed at uncertainty. This is why you get jobs. This is why you go to universities, because there's a lot of certainty in a job. Hey, I'll pay you this much at the end of the week if you do this work, if you work this many hours. I'll give you this degree. You'll have a better opportunity at a job if you go to these classes and do this work. There's certainty in that, right? Death is done. It's done, right? And the reason I've brought up this topic today is a lot of times people reference it. It's, like a breakup's like a death in the family. I get it. I've had deaths in the family, close family members too. I've had breakups, and it's different. It's different. You usually forgive whoever died. Now, and if you're watching this after the fact or you're in the live stream right now, do you agree with this? I don't think it's 100% true, but don't you feel like whatever angst or anger or hot emotions or something that person did wrong to you or something that disappointed you about that person, if they pass away, don't you usually forgive them in that moment? Why is that? Why is that? And if you don't, why would you hold that once they're gone? But in the breakup, a lot of times you're holding these ill feelings because it gives you some sort of power, some sort of feeling like you're still connected. But I just feel like if someone passes away and you had any problems with them, don't those dissipate to the side? Number 3, you remember more good in the death of a family member than you do in a breakup. Now, someone might go, well, all I can think about is the good things, right? Possibly. Again, this is pondering this topic. Please let me know what you think in the comments. The story ended versus the story is at a crossroads. I really like this one. That's the end of the book. That's the end of the story. Someone passed away, right? You can talk about them, you can do things, but that's over. Breakups, you feel like you're at a crossroads. What's next for me? What's next for them? And I think this is where you really get caught up, is what's next for us. But there is no more us in the moment. And where you want to get at is life goes on, so will you. Keep showing up. Keep showing up in your own life. This is a very powerful statement. At the end of the day, when you're really down, you're uncertain about things, you're at a crossroads, don't give up. Maybe you ponder the crossroad for a long time. Maybe you go, I don't know which direction to go in, but keep showing up. Keep showing up. It's very important. And sometimes that's all you need to do. Got to get up in the morning, take a shower, get your coffee, go to work. If you don't have a job, ponder what you're going to do about finding a job. But you're not going to give up, right? At the core of you, you're not giving up on life over a breakup. All right. So before we get into the stories today, I had a comment from a Cindy Daniel. Hi, Mac, not in a relationship, but still enjoy watching your input on relationships. Listening to some of these stories affirms why I stay single. Keep doing what you're doing. You're great at it. I want to say I really appreciate it, Cindy Daniel. Had another comment come in earlier today. I made a mistake after 3 months. He friend zoned me. I was with him for 1 year now. We were platonic. Last week I was at his house. He was talking to a lady for 3 hours without bothering my feelings. I started no contact again. I would highly recommend that you send in your full story. I like comments. I especially like comments of praise. But if you're going to write a snippet of your story, it doesn't really help me help you. So if you want to write your story, send it into writemac.com, WRITEMAC.com, and we'll unpack the whole thing and take a little bit of time writing your story out. It counts. Okay? When you give me this, oh, this, and this happened, and you want, what should I do? I need a little bit more information. So we got 5 on deck, 1 like. My ex is with a guy for 6 to 8 months, but still uses dating apps such as Tinder all these months. Is her boyfriend nothing but a rebound? Let me read this again. I'm a little confused how you wrote this. My ex is with a guy for 6 to 8 months. So that means that you don't really have concrete information because you're not even sure about the time frame, but still use dating apps such as Tinder all these months. Why are you interested in what your ex is doing? Would be my first question. Why are you tracking them on Tinder? Is her boyfriend nothing but a rebound? Why do you care? They're with someone else. So they're with someone else and they're on dating apps. Why are you tracking them? Why are you playing spectator? That would be my first question. What's in it for you? What are you getting from it? So if you find out that this boyfriend's a rebound, what's that do for you? Does that make you feel vindicated, validated that they were a bad partner? What's your reasons for pursuing this? Because if your ex is with someone, number one, I don't think you want that information. Now, if it just falls on your lap, fine. But it looks like you're looking for reasons to cut them down. If I were you, stay away from any information. Don't be a spectator in the cheap seats. Okay? You see your ex on Tinder, you're on Tinder too, right? You see your ex in a new relationship. My advice, if you still have some feelings, which you probably do, avoid that. Make it impossible. Block them on all the social media, everything like that, because they're with someone new and it hurts you. Okay? All right, so let's get into this. I'm just going to repeat the description I started with one time, and I'm going to unpack that a little deeper. So there's an ultimate finality to death. There's no coming back. There's no new chapter. In a lot of cases, you forgive the individual for everything. You remember them for all their good parts. So what, like I said earlier, when someone passes away, don't most of us, I'd hope not, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but don't even feel this sort of whatever crap you had with that person, whatever ill feelings, it just dissipates and you forgive them. But in breakups, there's this open loop. There's a need for a next chapter. What's next? Anything feels possible. Actually, anything is possible. And that's where we get stuck, is that anything is possible. But here's the rub on it, right? In death, anything isn't possible. That person passed away. They're not going to be back. There's something factual about that we can accept, right? But also in death, you can micro focus on this person will never be back, this person will never be back. But then there's sometimes people go, well, they're in a better place. So you do have a choice in how you handle the death in the family. You do have a choice in how you perceive and handle the breakup. So when the breakup happens and you feel like anything's possible, but then you micro focus on what you want or what you don't want. And this is what's really interesting. Some people would say, well, who would focus on what they don't want? A lot of people do. A lot of people focus on what they don't want because it's fear-ridden, right? A lot of people get into a place where they don't even realize it. They're stuck on the worst case scenario when there's actually 10 different scenarios. And in order for me to help you find the scenario that's best for you to move forward, I need to know your story, right? So, but we choose to micro focus on what we want and what we don't want. We can get back together versus they never loved me. Now think about that. Oh, we might be able to get back together versus they never loved me versus I'll never meet another like them. How many people get stuck on one of those focuses? How do you get out of that? Well, for number one, write out your story and send it into writemac.com and I'll unpack it for you. Hypnosis is a way. Emotional freedom technique, tapping is a way. There's some modalities that'll help with that. You are stuck on one focus when there's actually a lot of possibilities out of the breakup. You can choose so many other paths. So how do you get to the point where it's over? You accept the breakup. You accept that you weren't going to work out. You accept that this relationship wasn't going to be for you or them. So here's the crazy part. That actually takes time for a lot of people. That actually is something that doesn't come easy. I was just talking to an individual yesterday about this, and he was like, man, I wish I would have met you last year because I had a horrible breakup last year. It was so hard on me. He's like, I even had some suicidal thoughts. I saw a therapist. I'm still seeing a therapist, right? He's going on and on and on and on and on about it, right? Not in a pity-seeking way, just real talk, right? And I said, look, you doing that is actually part of you healing because you weren't on drugs or alcohol. You weren't doing crazy things. You actually had to sit in the breakup. You actually had to mourn the loss of that person. It's like now I tell people sometimes, listen, you probably aren't going to completely get over a breakup till you meet someone new. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm saying like get on Tinder or Bumble or one of these things right away and it'll all work out. Sometimes it's just fine to accept that you want to go on a relationship fast and just be on your own and just be alone and read some books and mourn the loss of that person. Accept that you're not going to get back together because you're too different. You're going in two different directions, and there's some things you just can't accept about that person. And that might take you mourning them. That might take you crying some bit. That might take you having some really bad fucking days. But here's the thing. You deal with it up front and you come out the other end, and there's light at the end of that tunnel. But the reason why it hurts so much is because you're dealing with it. You're going through it. That's why they say you're going through it right now, huh? Isn't it different than going around it or stopping on the way and not dealing with it, avoiding it? There's a difference, right? And when we compare death to a breakup, well, you got to deal with that, right? There's no going around it. All right, let's get into the first story. Brand new Skinner. Always a pleasure to have you on deck. Coach Mac, here's my story. I'm 36 and she's 29. We've been together for 4 years. It's been great. This has been a great relationship from the get-go. That's how it should start, my friend. I've never been more happy than when I'm with this beautiful lady. She's got class, smarts, and looks. She's the whole package. Sounds good to me. We've never really broke up before. We've had a few big fights over politics, actually. And there was one more where she got upset that I was lending too much money to my sister, which I saw her point, but it's my blood. I have to take care of my sister. None of this led to us breaking up. Okay, so those are reasons to have arguments. I mean, I've never been in a relationship myself where politics was a big issue, but I could see it being an issue in certain relationships. And I've certainly had couples literally break up. I shouldn't even say literally. They broke up over the Trump election and that they were so divided. So politics can become an issue. And if that's something you're passionate about and you don't want to lay down to, it can be an issue. But it's always good to agree to disagree. But when it's your partner, politics can be a big issue for some people. The idea that you gave your sister money and she didn't like that, that's very common. There's a lot of individuals that see your money as their money when you're together for a long time. They say, well, this is what's in your best interest, but what they're really imposing on you is this is what's my best interest. And you're saying, this is my sister. So good for you standing up for yourself and saying, this is my blood. I'm going to give her money if she needs money. So it all started about 6 months ago when she lost her job, a job she loved and was very good at. Honestly, I felt she should be getting paid a lot more. And her boss was a manipulative prick. I haven't heard that in a while. Prick. He'd throw big dinner parties and have weekend retreats every couple months. But she didn't get a raise for 2 years. I don't know if that's manipulative or corporate. But okay, I'm with you. After getting let go, she went into a mini depression. So this is common. People can go into a little depression after they lose a job they really like. I never saw this side of her. I did my best to console her, be there for her. But I also got to a point where I was like, look, you got to get it together and get some help mentally because you're capable of getting a new or even better job. Well, good for you not trying to be the one that fixes her depression. Get her a therapist or coach or some kind of outside help, because when it comes to depression or mental health, your partner isn't the best one. A lot of times people, they don't want their partner to be their therapist, okay, or their coach. And so you deferring that to someone else is a very, very good move. Kudos. She went to a therapist and that helped, but it opened up some old wounds that I never knew were there. I won't get into details, but she was the victim of some abuse when she was younger, and we never really got deep into it. But when she went to this therapist, I guess it came back up. Well, these things don't go away, right? And they can be triggered by losing a job or just an event, just a moment where you go, wow, why'd you get so upset about that? It triggered something. Going back to therapy can bring up some old stuff, and it will affect your relationship. She shared the details with me and I was there for her. But the thing was, I'm not sure it ever made her feel better. Interesting. You'd have to ask her that directly. And sometimes therapy hurts because you're going through it, just like I mentioned earlier, and that's part of the process. It's painful. But that doesn't mean eventually you won't feel better. She saw this therapist weekly for a few months, but really continued her depression deeper. Then we got to a point where I couldn't hold up our lifestyle or essentially pay the rent on my own. I let her know that I needed her to chip in on the rent, and she just lost it on me and claimed I didn't care about her ever, and I was all about money. This went on with more verbal lashings till finally I moved out and left her. She then blamed me for never really loving her. So these are extreme cases. You guys were together 4 years. That's a good chunk of time, a good relationship. It sounds to me like, what did you really break up or leave her for? Was it the idea that you couldn't pay things, or was it the verbal lashings? It's kind of interesting. Those are the questions I had. What did she directly say to you that really hurt you? That was about a month ago. Now I got a studio apartment. I just feel horrible for how she feels. It's killing me to not call her or check in on her, but I know it's best because I can't cure her with words. You're correct, my friend. You're not going to be the therapist or coach that leads her out of the woods here. So I'm now in therapy about her, and it's going okay, but really it's like a death in the family, only she's still a 10-minute drive away. How do I move on or get through this? Well, it starts with you getting a therapist. If you do have the extra money, I'd book a live coaching session with myself to get another opinion on this. But you're doing the right things. It's not going to heal right away. If she was lashing out on you and attacking you when you came up with a pretty honest and practical reason to address her not working, in that, we got rent, we got a lifestyle here, and I can't hold it up. If she's going to go off on you and say you never cared about me and you never loved her, now what you did right, you didn't accept that. There's a lot of dudes out there that'll go, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll get a second job. I'll do this. I'll do that. It's not going to make the situation better. Okay. So you did the right thing standing up for yourself. She's at a point right now, let me see here. Said 29 years old. 29 years old is an interesting age, right? She's at a different place in her life, even though 7 years is not that big a difference in age gap for a relationship. But sometimes there's a big difference in maturity. Okay. Now, this is going to be difficult, but you've done some good things here. Right off the bat, she had major issues with abuse, with losing her job. And you suggested a therapist rather than just tell her, get over it, or I'm here for you. Right? Now, this stuff that bubbled up, how deep and how thick it is, it might take her a year, it might take her 8 months. And by the way, her still not having a job is not going to help things. And here's the thing. This is what you call tough love. If you were enabling her to sit at home and just do therapy, then she's not going to get up off her ass to get a job. Right? So even if she's upset with you right now, she does need to figure out when she's going to get back on deck with work. And this is also, like you said, you're being honest. Hey, look, this is our lifestyle. This is our rent. I can't do it on my own. So in the meantime, see your therapist, live in your studio, take it day by day, get your exercise, take a cold shower when it's on your mind. If you want to get a little deeper with myself, I do hypnotherapy now, and I also do an emotional freedom technique with tapping. So that might help you also. But this is one of those things, she can come back around because she's in therapy right now. She's working through her issues. And in 2 months, 3 months, she could come back and say sorry to you. But you're not going to suggest that to her. Okay? And if you were a good boyfriend, husband, or partner, this will weigh on her. Some people, it takes them time to come to their senses. A lot of people impulsively act out their emotions or feelings, especially women. And so in this moment when she was lashing out on you, But like I said, good on you to stand up to yourself and have some fucking dignity and some balls and go, you know what? I'm not going to take this. And it's hard. It's hard. And when you ask me, how do I move on? You kind of did when you moved out. How do I get through this? You're doing it right now. You're just not all the way through it. It's going to take a little bit of time. All right, let me get to the live stream a little bit here. We got 4 on deck, 4 likes. Joe Helka, a woman should never interfere with his family, but I love when a guy stands for his beliefs, unless it's something that is really taking advantage of you. Sometimes family can be manipulative. Absolutely. It's individually packaged, right? Every family's different. Every situation's different. But if you have your reasons and that's who you are, that's your principles, that's your code of conduct, and you say, you know, no matter what, I'm going to lend my sister money if she needs it, that's on you. Sometimes women will believe that once they get with a man, their money is hers, spent, and not throwing it in someone else. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? Some guys abide to that, and that's completely up to them. Just don't complain about it later on when it becomes a fucking problem. All right, so a comment came in today. It's a little bit of a short story, but Sneaky Grin was actually the name of the person from the comments. And I'd highly recommend that you send in your story to writemag.com. The link will be down below. And fully write out your story and take a little bit of time like the individual did above to get better advice. See, when people put it in the comments, they kind of generalize and just kind of tell me some basics. And I can't really give you very good advice based on that. But I'm going to unpack this one to give you an idea of how different it is when you actually take some time to write out your story thoughtfully and tell me what you want to know. Tell me what you want me to talk about, right? So my situation is that I was with my partner for 15 and a half years. We broke up a little less than 2 months ago. Okay. I fell into depression. That led to the break. I started to work on myself. New job, therapy, the relationship, etc. The relationship was rocky, but good. She jumped into a relationship with this new guy after around 4 weeks. All right, so this is big, dude. You're in a relationship 15 and a half years. First of all, if you were in a relationship 15 and a half years, I'll give you a relationship achievement award in the 21st century. This is great. You did something right if you had a good relationship for 15 years. Okay, it's hard to keep something going that long in the 21st century with all the distractions, the internet, porn, etc., the dating apps. Okay, 15 years is going to be a lifetime achievement award in the future for relationships. Trust me. So what I would want to know that you're leaving out here right off the get-go is, why did you break up? Right? So you just wrote this out. We were in a 15 and a half year relationship. I fell into depression. Why did you break up? What was the reason? Lack of intimacy, monotony, finances. See, this is what gets left out. So if I'm going to talk to you about why you broke up, and a lot of times 15 years, in my experience, it's usually boredom, monotony, or intimacy just fell off. So here's the great thing, though. It sparked something in you, Sneaky Grin, to get a new job in therapy. So it did something for you. She jumps into a new relationship with a new guy around 4 weeks. So my question would be, how long in the 15 and a half years was the relationship on life support? Was it year 13, year 12? I've talked to people that were married 25 years and they go, the last 4 years we slept in separate rooms and barely talked. So when that happens, if someone goes, oh, she's with someone 4 weeks later, are you surprised? Why would they not slide into a new relationship? They've been checked out on you for years, not months. They are in an LDR right now, long distance relationship. It's a long-term. So how do you know all this? It's a long-term friend and they know each other well enough. I don't know who the guy is yet. She won't divulge. You don't want to know. Okay? She's talking to someone else. You're broken up. What is your reason for wanting to know the details? Is it going to help you or is it going to hurt you? What are you going to do with those details? You're going to contact the guy? I've had clients do this. Oh, I contacted the guy and talked to him. Oh, that's real attractive. She was thinking of giving me another go before this new thing, but then this new thing happened and boom. New thing meaning new relationship. Well, she's talking to someone else. Okay. You got a new job, you got therapy, start going to the gym or exercising and get on a track where you're like, all right, she's talking to someone else. Are you going to compete with this guy? Or are you going to dress him down? This is another thing that people do. They go look up the person. They go, oh, this guy's fat. Oh, he's a loser. Oh, I make more money. She's with him. He writes on. She's very happy. Says who? She says he isn't her usual type, but I know a little about him and she wants to commit to their relationship. Well, here's the other thing. If you say they were friends before this, she might have had this on the back burner for a year. Okay. Bottom line is, you don't want the details of your ex of 15 years with a new person. Start it now or start it in 2 weeks, but go into no contact. If you don't have kids or you don't have any finances that you hold together, if there's some reason that you have to talk, like when you have kids, okay, do not enter into a conversation about this new relationship that she's in. It will hurt you. Danger. I'm trying to get her back and my family. Okay, well, stop trying and continue to work on yourself. New job, therapy. What was the reason that you broke up after 15 and a half years? Is that fixable? You're not going to do it with the kind of reason and logic that this is just what I want. She's now seeing someone else. But I think I have to give up. See, that's where language counts. Giving up is not something that sounds very good. You don't have to do anything. What would be best for you? She really wants friendship and knows I can't, but she does have feelings for me, and I believe unless I'm diluted. Well, if you were together 15 years and you say my family, if you have kids, yeah, she has feelings for you. She cares about you. It sounds like there was a lack of intimacy here and there was something missing that you didn't mention. But here's the thing. It's counterintuitive. You need to remove your attention. You cannot be friends with someone like this. She will wean herself off the relationship. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help you. All right. So if you have a live situation right now and you want to punch it in the live stream, you got a question, you got a situation in a breakup, go ahead and drop it. I'll be happy to answer it. We've got 9 on deck, 6 likes. If you have a topic that you want me to talk about in the next few days, feel free to drop that also. The topic today was differences between death and a breakup. And I'll just go through it real quick. The finality verse, wondering and uncertainty. Number 2, usually forgive whoever died. Why? Good question, right? Do you ever think about that? Don't you think someone's kind of low if someone in their family passed away and they're still bitter at them? I don't know. They might have their reasons. Number 3, you remember more good in the death of a family member than a breakup. Is that true? The story ended versus the story is at a crossroads. I think that's the biggest one, right? There's a new chapter. What's going to happen next? Where are they going to go? Where am I going to go? Are they going to get back with me? Please tell me. People love a good psychic after a breakup. Get their cards read. I know I've done it before. Someone says, oh, I'm not proud of it. It is what it is, man. Because you know what? You're at that crossroads. You're like, what's going to happen? Well, the best thing you can do is start getting on deck in your own life. I'll tell you that much. Right? Whatever that is. And life goes on, and so will you. So keep showing up. Have you ever thought about writing out not all your breakups, but just make a list of your greatest moments and your really bad moments? And do they even out? It's a good question to ask, huh? A really good question to ask. For me, when a person dies, is not a choice, but a breakup. You have all the opportunities to show up for yourself. Joe Helka, I agree. One thing I will say is you have a choice in how you handle it, right? Someone might say someone passes away in their family. I heard the great Jordan Peterson. When I say the great, he's still alive. He said someone had asked him about a situation where I believe it was his father had passed away. And there were, he had multiple siblings. And he said to Jordan Peterson, he said, "How do I handle this? What do I do? I don't know what to do." Jordan Peterson said, "Well, first and foremost, be strong for your family, be there for your family, and say something good at the funeral. Say something of feeling of goodness." And that's where you start. And I would agree with that, because that's within that power of that individual. And it's a start. And so if you're at a breakup, what's going to be the start? Get up out of bed. Get on deck. Start sorting your life out as an individual. Brand new Skinner. I'm long past it, but maybe I'll write out my ex story for the channels into entertainment. She essentially cheated with a cousin. Her cousin or your cousin? It's amazing now. Wow, Skinner. Yeah, write that out and send it into an email for me, and we'll unpack it. But it's amazing now when you come out of a relationship, how many options. This will probably be a topic for another day. How many options you have to check in, stalk the individual, right? Than you did maybe 30, 40 years ago. How many people are taking tabs on social media, emails, friends of friends? Oh, they're followers. Oh, I saw this on Facebook. How much does that affect you coming out of a breakup, man? Jeez. I'll tell you what. That they didn't have terms like no contact back in the day, because I think it was probably easier to do because you didn't have all these ties. Brand new Skinner said, "How's the States been treating you?" It's good. It's all right. I'll be headed back to the great Thailand soon, but it's been okay. Right? It's been okay. I'm just going to pull up something really quick here. Hold on a sec. And if you got a question or something, go ahead and throw it in there. So this week, tomorrow, we have why breakups will be more common in the future. And the Friday will be, what do they feel when they break up with you? And we'll also have some stories to that. In the breakup world, there are terms that you see all the time now, like reach out, no contact. And it's kind of bizarre to think about it. Yeah, because those weren't even there when I was a kid, right? Yeah, the lingo has changed. I know people that have actually just dedicated their whole channel to no contact videos, because that's what gets views, and that's what people go to the YouTube for. But as I do this daily show where I'm committed to doing a live stream every day, Monday through Friday, we'll evolve into some book reviews and some other stuff. We'll keep the stories coming in. Because people ask me, don't you get sick of breakups? I don't get sick of breakups. Sometimes talking about the same topics around them. The stories are always the stories. And that's what people come to this for. And what you realize is listening or seeing someone else's story is actually healing you because you're so obsessed with your own story and how it didn't go right for you. But when you see someone else's story, it actually heals you because you go, oh shit, I can kind of relate to this, how I didn't look at it that way because it's not me. I can be more objective. Right. And that's how it works. And we're always telling stories to ourselves, always telling a story to ourselves. Never fails. It's like one of the biggest stories is, I can't go no contact. Well, why? Well, if I go no contact, they'll never call me again. Okay, so why? What are you losing then? Because they're not calling you now, right? And you don't want to talk to them. It just goes on and on. All right, folks. It's been good. It's been grand. Thanks for the 7 on deck, the 6 likes. You are appreciated. One more comment just came in. In a weird way, I like to read the stories, but it also makes me cringe because it's hard to see what people subject themselves to. Well, I don't know. Here, thanks for throwing that in, Skinner. I don't know if they subject themselves to it knowingly. Right? This is what I've learned is we're going through life with these sets of programs. The subconscious and the unconscious is ruling us based on our life experiences, based on what happened to us when we were a little kid, based on a movie we watched. Everything is pushing us in a certain direction. So when you think to yourself, how the hell is someone doing that and not seeing it? They're running a program. They're running a program that says, oh, this happens. This is what I do. Oh, when I get in a relationship, it never works out. So let me find reasons for it not to work out. That's called sabotaging the relationship, right? So they really aren't aware. And this is why I've gotten into hypnotherapy. This is my next evolution as a coach and a hypnotherapist, because it's probably one of the best things to help you out with your programs and your limited beliefs. Coaching helps, talking to people about stuff, talking about their stories. But if you want to take it a little deeper, getting in a meditative state and going through it, which is what hypnosis and hypnotherapy helps you do, is a game changer. Absolute game changer. And by the way, as a secondary gain on that, you get meditation, which everyone wants to meditate, but it's really difficult to do for a lot of people. So that'll be for a different topic on a different show, but I'll get into that. Do the thoughts of us haunt them like long after the break? Excuse me. Parisa, thanks for asking. You know what? I work on both ends of this with men and women, with people that broke up or have been broken up with. And the word haunt, I don't know if that's the case for everyone or what the word they would use. But one thing that you can come back to, were you a good partner? Overall, I don't know, 80% of the time? I mean, be really honest about that. If you were, if you made that person, because people remember how you make them feel or how they feel around you. If a majority of the time that was the case, then of course they're going to miss you. They're going to think about you. But an individual's mind and decision making is so intricate, you'll never know. You'll never know exactly how they're feeling. But I will say this, if you were together for a year, 2 years, 3 years, You're going to enter their mind off and on. But the ultimate thing is when someone meets someone new that replaces their ex, essentially. If it's good for them, then they're going to have less thoughts about you. If that relationship fails, then they're going to have more thoughts about how you were better, because we're always comparing. People go, oh, you can't compare. I mean, you do it with everything, don't you? What do you not compare for value? Johelka, is it delicate to practice hypnotherapy given power to someone else? Well, in my particular use of it, I never feel like it's a power game. And I certainly would say if you had some kind of worries about that, then definitely work with someone that you trust that has good intentions. But the power of hypnotherapy is not like the movies. You're in control. If there's a suggestion that comes into play, or it's really like lucid dreaming or guided meditation. So I would say if you're working with someone that you trust, that shouldn't be a problem. Larissa M, it depends on the level of interest the other partner has on you. All right, folks, it's been good. It's been grand. I'll be back on deck 10 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. It is curtains.